All right. Hey, this is Jeremy, and this is today's 5 for 5 devotion. I want to ask you a question. Has your perceived shortcomings made you short-sighted? What do I mean by that? Well, let me back up just a little bit. Last week when I did my 5 for 5, I spoke about my struggles with insecurity. And a lot of times when we struggle with insecurity, it's because we compare ourselves to others. We see other people and we think, wow, look at that person. They're in good shape, the way they look, people like them, they got a great personality. Look at all the talents that they've been given. And what happens is we focus on our shortcomings compared to them. And we think, wow, I don't have what they have, and we don't feel great about ourselves. That leads to insecurity, and that leads to inaction, meaning we don't use our talents to the best of our ability because we don't think we're as talented as other people. And when we see those shortcomings that we think we have, it makes us short-sighted, and we don't do as much for the Lord as we could. So I want to share with you this parable, a parable about the kingdom of heaven that Jesus talked about in Matthew 25. I shared this parable a couple weeks ago at a funeral, and I think it's so powerful. In Matthew 25, Jesus talks about a master who wanted to go on a journey, and he entrusted his wealth to 3 of his servants. Now, he gave them talents. Now, these talents were actually bags of silver. He gave 5 talents to one of his servants, 2 talents to another one of the servants, and 1 talent to the other servant. Now, I want to focus on the guy that had 2 talents. Now, he could have easily seen the one who had 5 and thought, wow, look how much the master gave that guy. He's going to go and do a lot more with that than I could ever do. But he didn't. The one who was given 5, yes, he went and multiplied it. The one who was given 2, guess what he did? He invested that money and he multiplied it. He made the most out of the talents that he was given. The one who had 1, he went and hid his talents. He did not do what he was supposed to do. When the master came back, well, in verse 23, when he sees the man who took the 2 talents and gained 2 more, multiplied that wealth that he was entrusted with, he said, well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share in your Father's happiness. We don't have to focus on what other people have. We can celebrate what God's given them. Look at the talents they have. Look at how God has made them, how God created them, and what God has given them. That's awesome. What we should focus in on is what God has given us, not on what He hasn't given us. God's entrusted us with so much. He's given all of us special abilities. And no matter what that ability is, you can use your personality and your ability to be a part of the church, to be a part of the body of Christ, and to do great things if you'll just allow God to do that. But if you're short-sighted, if you're focused on your shortcomings, guess what? It's going to be hard for God to use you because you're focused on what you don't have instead of what you do have. So listen, get rid of that insecurity. Focus on what God has given you and allow Jesus to make the most of it through you. Thank Him for what He's given you and use those abilities for the Lord. I can't wait till one day when we get to stand before God and He says, well done, good and faithful servant. And He welcomes us in to His eternal kingdom. Make the most of what God's given you in this life. I hope you have a great day. See ya.